Hi, this is Adam Beechin, and if you're unsure of what we're doing here, check out our writer's commentary number 0, which should be located somewhere close by and should fill you in. Today I'm talking about the Batman Beyond portion of DC Comics' Batman Beyond Unlimited number 1. The comic has been in shops for about a week now, and the two halves of the story have been available online for a couple weeks. So if you haven't read the story and you don't want any of it spoiled, you should probably press pause now, go read the story, and then come on back. Furthermore, if you're completely new to this comic book version of Batman Beyond, you can have many of your plot questions answered by reading the trade paperback collections Batman Beyond Hush Beyond and Batman Beyond Industrial Revolution, both available wherever comics are sold. This is our third first issue in something like 18 months, so if it doesn't flow super smoothly from the last issues of our previous monthly run, a lot of things were going on behind the scenes. First, each new number 1 issue brings with it new readers. We were in the sort of odd position of not wanting to start off in the middle of a big storyline so as not to alienate new readers, but we wanted to keep all of our storylines alive, so readers that had been with us for a while didn't think we were starting over. So this is a transitional issue, kind of between storylines, advancing the story a bit while also covering some old ground so new readers can catch up. If our last monthly series had continued, this would have been part 1 of a storyline called 10,000 Clowns, in which bands of Joker worshippers who call themselves Jokers with a Z descend on Gotham for mysterious purposes. Instead, it's a prologue to the big story, which won't actually kick off until issue number 5. That's because of another behind-the-scenes thing. We got a new artist, Norm Breyfogle, taking over for Ryan Benjamin and John Stanisi. We knew Norm, who's a legend when it comes to drawing Batman, was going to be our regular artist, but because he had other commitments elsewhere, we didn't know if he'd be able to start right away, or draw an issue then finish his other commitments, or what. I'm a big believer in artistic stability on a book and didn't want to change artists in mid-storyline. So, we knew issue 1 would be a standalone, more or less. Not sure if Norm would be with us for issues 2 and 3. I wrote a two-parter that someone could guest draw if necessary. It'd keep the Joker's storyline moving, but more or less stand on its own. Then we'd do a single issue, which we always intended to do after 10,000 Clowns. That would be a retelling of this Batman's origin. That could be drawn by Norm, or if he needed more time, another guest artist. And after that, we'd plunge into 10,000 Clowns in number 5 with Norm and really be off and running. Now, as it turned out, Norm is going to be able to draw every issue I've written so far, thank goodness, and I'm up to number 8, so we've got artistic stability in spades, but now you know why we didn't end the last monthly series and start the new one immediately with 10,000 Clowns. Okay, let's get to the issue itself. Now, Norm Breyfogle coming back to draw Batman is a big deal. A lot of people know Norm best from the incredible work he did on Batman from the late 1980s to the early 2000s, although he's done amazing work on dozens of other titles. We wanted to start him out here with something big and splashy, images to announce his return with authority. And what did I do? I gave him a first page with Batman holding a hand in front of his face. Good job, Beechin. Still, it's a funny image, and Norm makes it look very, very cool. Then we turn to pages 2 and 3, a double splash in which Norm shows off his designs for a bunch of new Jokers, setting up a fight sequence in which Norm really gets to stretch out with some really fluid choreography and staging. You'll notice the Jokers all wear the same flower. In our story, Jokers are coming to Gotham from all over the world. It made sense to me that the phenomenon of Jokers wouldn't just be concentrated in Gotham. The original Joker was known all over the world. Certainly Gotham would be where he'd have the most followers, but it stood to reason there'd be others all over the place. If they'd ever all get together for any reason, I figured maybe they'd wear something to mark where they came from, so other Jokers would know. Hence the flowers. I want to highlight page 9 next. Norm creates some really cool tension here, mixing the big shots of Maxine and her conflicted expression with the small panels focusing on a single number among a bunch of them. Now, Norm's placed Max on the left side of the bottom 2 horizontal panels, and he's composed them so that the left side is further crowded by a plant and a file cabinet, while the right side is relatively open aside from the computer screen. It's subtle, but for me, the effect is that it hems Max in physically, just as she feels hemmed in by the choices she has to make. Norm's helped out here by our colorist, Andrew Elder, who shades the whole page in muted tones and accents it with the glow of the computer monitor. Andrew's got big shoes to fill on this book. He's taken over for David Barron, who worked on our last 2 series, but Andrew's off to a great start. On pages 10 and 11, Bruce has a sit-down with Commissioner Barbara Gordon. I'm not going to lie, Bruce is my favorite character to write. He's such a pragmatist, breaking every situation down into its key components. Here he highlights the fact that anyone who can unite the Jokers, who are dedicated to anarchy and chaos, And it's sort of weird they even form gangs in the first place when you think about it. Anyone who unites them has to be very smart and very dangerous. I'll get into this more in future commentaries. Every once in a while, though, for Bruce, some emotions do sneak through, like when he asked the commissioner here about if her legs hurt. Now, there was always some discussion in the days of the animated series about whether or not the Joker ever shot the Barbara of the cartoon. So if you think we might be hinting about something here, you're right. On page 13, Dana lays down the law to Terry, her now ex-boyfriend who also happens to be Batman, though she doesn't know it. I wrote a similar bit to this when I was writing Robin, so I'm plagiarizing myself here, I admit it. But it's always bugged me in comics when women just shrug when their boyfriends, who happen to be superheroes, just disappear whenever the restaurant is in the process of being robbed or the Justice League signal beeps. I don't know many women who'd put up with it for long. I want Dana to be strong, someone to be respected, and I think her attitude here is very reasonable. And I also think her strength makes her more attractive. Okay, page 17. Norm does more great stuff here with the gag on this page. Muscle-bound jokers with sledgehammers can be deadly and silly at the same time, and we get that here. In the first panel, you can feel the force behind their swings, and in the next panel, the motion lines and the postures of the jokers leaning back and away play up how quickly and how difficult it was to stop their momentum. You can see the strain in their forearms. It's very cool. By the way, the 3 exclamation point dialogue balloon was initially in the panel below, but we moved it up because it felt more appropriate in the near miss panel, and because the silence right before Batman came crashing back into the scene made it more effective. Last, page 20, where we reveal that Dana's brother Doug, who's been skulking around our book creepily for months, is revealed to be the mastermind behind this conclave of jokers. We've yet to see him express any emotion on his face in any of his appearances, which makes him even more scary, I think. And now he's starting to put on white grease paint, assuming the mantle of the leadership of this movement. And the white grease paint we associate with the hyper-emotional Joker. Again, more on Doug in future commentaries. Now the credits in the next issue blurb. Warren Ellis used to end his Wildstorm books with credits on the last page, like the end of a movie, which I always thought was cool. And Frank Miller would end issues of his classic Daredevil run with just next, and then next issue's title, which would always get me crazy impatient for the next issue. For us, I think these things also help subconsciously tie us back to the animated series, where you got the credits after the episode. Now, I'm not crazy about the Mad Stan Returns part. I would have preferred it to be a surprise. But in these days when everyone sees advanced solicitations and preview art well before the book comes out, what can you do? Still, the next 2 issues with Stan are going to be a lot of fun. So those are some notes on Batman Beyond Unlimited, or if you like, digital chapters 1 and 2. We leave you here with the cover to Batman Beyond Unlimited number 2, or digital chapters 3 and 4. Before we go, I want to thank our letter, Saida Temofonte, our editor, Jim Chadwick, and Dustin Nguyen, who drew the book's amazing cover. I hope giving you a little peek behind the curtain helps you enjoy the book, or enjoy it a little more. I'll be back in a month with more of the same for Batman Beyond Unlimited number 2. If you have any questions in the meantime, write me a note at batmanbeyondcommentary, all one word, at gmail.com. It'll come up as I sign off here, which I'm going to do right now. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking out our book, and I'll see you next time.